but it's negative for many of us that work in these types of jobs that can be eliminated.
Definitely. I'm glad you said, during the pandemic, everybody wanted it fast. And, you got those apps. Of course, people are still shopping online or, they're using DoorDash. I use DoorDash. I'm not going to lie. But something specific that I really saw when you use stuff online, it costs more than actually going to the store, going to the restaurant. So when you build these, these automated things, are we going to be paying as far as like the taxes on them? Like, are we going to, as far as just, taxes and things of that nature, how is that going to look for us?
Well, they will add in what we call a convenience fee.
Oh, man.
If you've looked at any itemized list, it has a convenience fee. Mm-hmm. Certain things, like if you like Fandango, the times I went to the movie, it's $2 versus standing in line. So what people will say, okay, so you're telling me if I order it, it could be brought to my house or it could be sitting by the curb. Yeah. I'll pay the $2. Or if you're like me, I use Amazon Prime a lot. Amazon Prime is a great service, but it's automated. It eliminates jobs because people are in a warehouse working. And some of these warehouses, I don't know if there are any to where I live at, close to South Carolina, but they have a lot of robots in them that get the packages. Right. Many people order from Amazon Prime, and I get water, like the core water I'm drinking. It comes twice a month. Wow. UPS brings it. I mean, that is an automated system of a computer system, basically saying, "Hey, Patrick wants this. Send it to his house." But one of the other things is for the economy. They were talking about UBI at one time, universal basic income. A couple of years ago, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and some other people were talking about taxing the robots like a salary. So basically, $80,000 a year salary for a robot. Use that to pay for the people that are going to lose their jobs. Wow. That are going to lose their jobs.
That's crazy. So I definitely want to get into how this affects the black community, because it seems like in the black community, we are undervalued and underpaid. So when this happens, what is this going to do to the black community?
In so many words, it is going to completely decimate it. Wow. Unless we get ahead of it.
How do we get ahead of it?
You must retrain right now. As I was speaking to you earlier, even though I talk about like how automation is going to eliminate jobs, you still have time. This hasn't become widespread yet. Right. You still have time to go into blue-collar fields. There are a lot of blue-collar fields where jobs cannot be eliminated. Blue-collar people make a lot of money. HVAC electricians, welders, construction. There are some, I can't name them all, but there are a lot of those men and women in those fields make a lot of money. There are certain white-collar jobs you can get into. I know we're pushing everybody to go to STEM, but there are a lot of STEM fields that can be automated. And one of the things when I teach the students, I talk to them and say, I want you to close your eyes and visualize this. Think about if your job can be replaced by a robot or a process. Either with automation, it's a robot or it's a process. And see, also in the black community, we also think going to school makes us look weird or ostracizes us. Yeah. And to the people listening to the video, to anybody else, the days of being average are over. Average equals poverty. And you cannot afford to be average anymore. Those days are like my parents or your parents worked 30 years on a job. Those days are over. Yeah. And the cost of living is high. So crazy. And this stuff is not going down anytime soon. So people must become self-aware. One of the things people can do, think about what I just said. Can my job be automated? If it can, you need to become the subject matter expert. You can go to school online. You can go to a tech school. There are certifications through Google. There are so many programs. But the thing is, once this becomes widespread and moves forward, once the world moves forward, it is not going backwards. And I need the black community to really listen and focus and take things serious, because you cannot afford to play around right now. It is 4th and 1. You are at the goal line. It's either you're going to get in the end zone or you're going to lose the game.
Turnover on downs.
Yes.
That's it. So, and I know in your dissertation, you specifically mentioned women.
Yes.
What does this do for women specifically?
Women work in a lot of administrative positions. I researched the other week, 5.4 million women left the workforce during the pandemic, and many of those women are not coming back. So women also, just like men, have to look at their skill set and say, well, what am I going to do? Men and women can both do the same jobs. I mean, there are some things physically exerting that I could do more because I'm a man, but women have to look at their jobs too. Banking. Excuse me, we're here in Atlanta, if I went to the Porsche dealership, no, matter of fact, if I was home and I wanted to order a 911 off the internet, I pay the money, they'll make it, and they'll bring the Porsche to my house. I don't need a man or a woman. They'll just deliver it. See, we have a lot of women thinking I'm in my admin, oh, they need me to do the analysis. They need me to do these numbers. And I've said to people, they can write an algorithm that can do this 25 times better than you. Any company, they're looking for consistency and they're looking for things to be repetitive. If you can't do both of those, you become obsolete. So I need the women, and I need women in certain positions of admin, financial, banking, to sit back and think about, can their job be automated too? Just like I'm talking to men, I'm talking to everybody. I do this for myself. It's called, I went to grad school, it's called a SWOT analysis. Look at your life and career and look at the strengths, the weaks, the opportunities and threats. And think about will your position be here in 24 months or not. And don't get complacent. I said, this is how I was taught by my parents. You get up, if they hand me a pink slip at my job today, what would I do? And that's a good way to go about this and retrain. And, when you wake up every day, think about how can I make myself better? Because companies now, they're laying people off left and right now. And we have to teach people to, to say to themselves, what am I doing to make sure I have a security? If you have kids, you have a family, if you live alone, you need to have extra incomes. 2 incomes don't cut it. If 2 people are in a house, it's just not going to cut it anymore.
Especially the way inflation is going. I mean, it's insane. Like it's something new, different, something higher going up every day.
Yes, it is. And it's slowly, gas is slowly coming down, but the commodities, like with the food, I live by myself. So I went in and checked out the food prices and I'm like, this stuff is high. I just imagine people that have kids, they have other things going on. So let's just think about it. We're in Atlanta. How many people, I've even asked the class this, how many people can afford $2,200 a month in rent? Not many people can afford $2,200. So one of the other things, there's a statistic from 2019. When I do my presentations, I always talk to people about this. In 2019, out of 330 million people, this is before they completed the census in 2020, we had 154 able working people. 154 million people were working. 86 million people made $35,000 or less. This is courtesy of the Social Security Administration and the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. This, in research, you have to have credible and accurate resources. People could Google this. So $35,000 or less, and a lot of people are not making money now in a lot of fields. I know wages need to go up, but we have to also remember companies, if they raise wages, it gets passed on to us. So you also have to remember, if they don't want to raise my wage, I got to find a better job. I have to find a better job. I got to find multiple jobs. I have to do whatever I can to stay ahead.
Definitely. So in the event that, of course, inflation continues the way it's going, and of course, people are losing jobs over machines. What's the next step? Like, what do we do?
Well, we take a step back and we come up with a plan. And for individuals, you think about what careers are out there right now. What is going away? Where can I see myself in 5 years? Where can I not party and take vacations? Because I was talking to Angela about this. I talk to everybody